You guys are allowed to talk. Why are you guys so serious? It's the playoffs. Remember? Did Auburn win? Did they even play? I'm just saying, it's an equal victory, No? Yeah? Tulane football's here? Does Julane, is that still okay? Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay. We have some graduates from Tulane University, the Alens. Where are the... You guys went to Tulane. You went to Tulane too? Karen, you were a cheerleader at Tulane. Elan's went to Brown. Never mind. Paul, you up there?
I am.
Can you give me some filler? Thanks.
I will. Here it comes.
Shana Tova, everybody. We turn to the top of page 6. We turn to page 11, and it's our great honor to welcome Allison Berman, who will light our Yuntif candles. For those who are able, we rise together for our Kiddush on page 79.
Baruch atah Adonai. Baruch Shemo Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai. Baruch Shemo Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol am veromemanu mikol lashon bekidshanu b'mitzvotav. Matiten lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava et yom hazikaron hazeh yom teruah מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, מאותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ודברך אמת מקיים לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך שמו,
מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש ישראל מיום הזיכרון. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך שמו,
אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
We turn back to page 12. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under Shemayim, under heaven, and please join me. This is the season of the soul, a time to rejoice, a time to reflect, a time to return, a time to gather around the table with loved ones and friends, a time for song and silence, for prayer and confession, to open the heart, a time to retreat to our sanctuaries within, a time to renew the life and spirit of our community. This is the season of attentiveness, a time to notice what has unfolded and what has not, a time to regret, a time to forgive, a time to remember cherished dreams and high ideals erased by reality. This is the season of hope, like mist rising at sunset, like dew descending at dawn. Our hopes beautify and nourish everything they touch. Our hopes make us partners in creation, pursuers of peace, people who aspire to a world of justice. This is the season of awe. When our eyes behold it, may we feel blessed. When we turn toward each other, let us feel strength. When we seek the holy, may we find purpose. May we find courage. And above all, may we find love. We rise together, page 15.
תקעו בחודש שופר, מכסל יום חגנו. תקעו בחודש שופר, מכסל יום חגנו. כי חוק לישראל הוא. משפט לאלוהי יעקב. משפט לאלוהי יעקב.
Page 16. Here I am, one soul within this prayer community. Like those around me, I bring my own concerns and yearnings to this place, hoping they will find expression in the time-hallowed words of my people, and in the traditions cherished by generations before me. May I bring the best of my energies to these holy days, approaching this spiritual work with open heart and mind, sincerity and sustained focus on the deep questions of the season. Who am I? How shall I live? Where have I fallen short or failed? This night I take up the challenge of the days of awe, Cheshbon HaNefesh, a searching examination of my life, a moral inventory of my deeds, words, and thoughts. During the next 10 days, let me face the truth about myself and listen to your still, small voice, taking comfort in your promise that I'm always free to change, released from staleness and routine. Let me know the joy of beginning again. May I gain strength as I share this task with those around me, united by our common purpose, Tikkun Midot, improving our characters, and Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. I now prepare myself to pray, one soul amidst this holy congregation.
Hineni heani mimas, nirash v'nifchad mipachad, יושב תהילות ישראל. באתי לעמוד ולהתחנן לפניך, על עמך ישראל אשר שלחוני. אף על פי שנכדי והגון לכך, לכן אבקש ממך, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, ואלוהי יעקב. אדוני, אדוני, רחום וחנון, אלוהי ישראל. שדי היום מנורא, אינה מצליח דרכי, אשר אני הולך לעמוד ולבקש רחמים עליי ועל שולחי נעל תפשיים בחטאותיי ואל תחייבם בעוונותיי, כי חוטא ופושע אני. כי אתה שומע תפילת עמך ישראל ברחמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, שומע תפילה.
The top of page 19. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Yehei ratzon shenizkei lefchotecha, Bishnat chamesh alpayim shomin ve'eshtayim. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessings in the year 5782. Eternal One, bless us in the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. May the words of our heart be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for the gift of life. Remain standing, page 20. We turn to the bottom of page 22. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your great name fills the universe with majestic might. Your word creates twilight and dusk as your wisdom opens the gates of night. Your discernment separates the changing seasons and causes the passage of time. The stars arrayed across the sky reveal your design. You roll out the cycle of darkness and light, shaping day and night. You sweep away day and carry the world into nightfall, setting day apart from nighttime. You are God of all we can perceive and all that is beyond our perception. Living eternal God, be your sovereign to the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamriv Aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, creator of twilight and dusk. We continue to page 24.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Adonai Eloheinu b'shochmeinu uv'kumenu nasiach mechukecha v'nismach b'divrei toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki heim chayenu be'orech yameinu uvahem neheke yomam v'layla neheke yomam v'layla be'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael ohev amo Yisrael. on the next page. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue the top of page 33. To break the bonds of anger, to be generous of heart, and please join me, to break the bonds of shame, to live with self-respect, to break the bonds of envy, to serve one another in joy, to break the bonds of boredom, to be attentive to all God's gifts, to break the bonds of fear, to live with courage and strength, to untie the knots of betrayal, to love with fullness of being, to break the bonds of loneliness, to receive a hand of hope, break the bonds of self-centeredness, to extend a hand of help. Released from the darkness, our people found their freedom at the sea, and we pray for liberation. At the dawning of this year, we continue with our Michamocha, our prayer of freedom and strength, on the next page.
Continue on page 36 with our Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu
מחמידנו מלכנו לחיים, השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, מחמידנו שומרנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ושמור צאתנו ובואנו, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ושמור צאתנו ובואנו. ברוך אתה אדוני הבורא סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים.
We continue with our Chetzi Kaddish, the top of page 40.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבם, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב מימרו.
אמן.
ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה ולעילה, מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה,
Top of page 43. Israel, prepare to meet your God. The moment is here, but I am unprepared. How does one get ready to meet what may not exist? The pious ones of old would wait an hour before praying to focus their thoughts on the Holy One. Technicians of the sacred, the sages had their own proven methods. Rava would take off his fine outer cloak, clasp his hands over his heart, and pray like a servant before his master. Said one sage, look toward the earth during prayer, but direct your heart to heaven. I can position my eyes and my hands. Where's my heart tonight? One should pray the standing prayer only with a sense of reverence and awe. Remove trivial matters from your thoughts. Approach God with a clean and open mind. And as the Hasidim teach, think not of your own needs and requests. Focus on the pain of God who suffers in this troubled world. If you can't find the faith, then doubt is your gift. And if you can't find the words, offer your silence instead. For so it is written, silence is praise to you. For those who are able, we rise together for our tefillah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Belohei Avoteinu ve'imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor meHaNorah Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Bekonei Hakol Mesocher Chasdei Ahavot V'imahot Livnei v'neihem leman shemo me'ahavam. Oser u'moshia u'magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai Mechayei meitim atah Rav lehoshia Mechalkel Chaim Mechesed Mechayei Medim Berachamim Rabim So asurim umekayem emunato lishenei afar mi chamocha ba'al geburot umido melach melech meimit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua mi chamocha el harachamim zocher yetzurav lechaim berachamim v'neman ata lehachayot metim baruch ata Adonai mechayei hametim. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלם.
You are holy, your name is holy. Seekers of holiness praise you day by day. Salah, we continue the bottom of page 49. And so, in your holiness, give all creation the gift of awe. Turn our fear to reverence. Let us be witness of wonder, perceiving all nature as a prayer come alive. We bow to the sovereignty of your strength, the primacy of your power. We yearn for connections with all that lives, doing your will with wholeness of heart. Awe-inspiring is your creation, all-encompassing your transcendent name. We continue to page 53.
אתה בחרתנו מכל העמים, אהבת אותנו ורצית בנו, ורוממתנו מכל הלשונות, וקידשתנו במצוותיך, וקרבתנו מלכנו לעבודתך, ושמך הגדול והקדוש עלינו קראת. ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו מאהבה את יום הזיכרון הזה, יום תרועה מקרא קודש, זכר יציאת מצרים.
The top of page 57. This is the season of God. This is the season of our humanity. And this is the day when word stands at the very center of Jewish prayer, Meluch. 3 Hebrew letters, Mem, Lamed, Chaf, Sofik, reign over space and time, Meluch. Reign over infinite expanse. Show us your reality. Help us to see our finite place in the cosmos that is our home. What is God's sovereignty? What is God's rule? Is it the rule of unity by which we sense coherence in the universe? Is it the power of relationship, relating every image of God to every other image of God and to every facet of nature? Sunshine and ocean waves, heartbeats, honeybees, the stuff that stars are made of. It is the ultimate power that governs our lives with wisdom, compassion, truth, and kindness. In the season of God, may we breathe new life into the ancient name Melech HaOlam, and may the ruler of the universe breathe new life into each of us. We continue to page 60 with Ritzeh.
Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu Be'amcha Yisrael U'tefilatam be'ahava tekabel U'tehi l'ratzon Tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael Amecha El Karov Lechol Kor'afenei El Avatecha V'choneinu Shefoch Ruchacha Aleinu B'techesena V'shuvcha l'Tzion Baruch atah Adonai HaMachazir Shechinato
The top of page 67. Greatest peace, for all blessings flow from peace. Greatest peace, for without peace no blessing is complete. Greatest peace, for even in times of war, the hope for peace is undiminished. Greatest peace, for peace is granted to those who repent. Greatest peace, for peace is the inheritance of the righteous. Greatest peace, for peace is granted to those who love and study the Torah. Greatest peace, for peace is granted to the humble. Greatest peace, for peace is granted to those who do justice. Great is peace, for God's name is peace. Greatest peace, for peace is equal in weight to all the works of creation. Greatest peace for heaven, for even heaven needs peace. Behold, if peace is needed in heaven, where neither hatred nor strife is found, how great the need for peace on earth, where hatred and strife abound. You are the Blessed One, the Eternal One, our source of shalom. We continue to page 70.
Yihul ratzon imrei fi. Yihul ratzon imrei fi. Behagion libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri vekoali. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable before you. O God, my rock and my redeemer. Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, be'al kol Yisrael, me'imeru, me'imeru,
The top of page 72. May the Eternal One who blesses all life bless and strengthen all of us who struggle against illness. May we whose lives are touched by illness be blessed with faith, courage, love, and caring. May we experience the support and sustenance of family, friends, companions, and community. May we be granted restful nights and days of comfort. We pray for refluah shlema, precious moments of healing, and a sense of wholeness in body and soul. May those who care for the sick with their hands, their voices, and their hearts be blessed with courage and stamina. May those who pursue healing through medical skill and knowledge be blessed with insight, patience, and compassion. May all of us, the sick and the well together, find courage and hope, and together we say, on this Yontif we especially think of Linda Applebaum, Cindy Silberman Bailey, Margaret Bell, Harold Seitlin, Deborah Chargois, Karen Edwards, Ruth Grafman Fromstein, Edward Goldberg, Barbara Goldstone, Elaine Gross, Josie Hatfeld, Evelyn Held, Donald and Maida Himmel, Norma Jill Jacobson, Corey Kessler, Lainey Klein, Bart Kolber, Jerry Lapidus, Dr. Wayne Lewis, Jeffrey Muss, David Siegel, Liz Slive, Chrissy St. Charles, Brenda Weinstein, Jesse Weisberg, and Elisa Rosemary Whitehead. We continue for our prayer of healing on page 73.
Berach Avoteinu, Avraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov. Mishem berach Imoteinu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, veRachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, 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 and
Shana Tova, everybody. I always will remember February 17th, 2021. It was a Tuesday. This is the first blizzard that we experienced in Birmingham, Alabama. There was a centimeter of snow and the city shut down. I was paranoid that Rachel was going to get stuck at UAB because they wouldn't let us drive over the hill, but nevertheless, she made it. But if you want to know what a real blizzard is like, remind you to tell you a blizzard in Birmingham, Michigan. 28 inches of snow, and there's school the next day. But in the middle of the night, Rachel woke up frantically. Her water broke at 31 weeks, 4 days pregnant, carrying twins. She was admitted to UAB, where physicians hoped that she could deliver closer to 34 weeks. My mom was scheduled to arrive in Birmingham early Friday afternoon to watch Lillian, yet her flight was delayed multiple times, and we were getting worried that she wasn't going to make it, but she arrived at 7:30 p.m. Rachel called me an hour later, concerned that she may have had contractions, but they thought they were Braxton Hicks, and I just said, just wait to talk to the attending before I head down to the hospital. An hour later, Rachel called again. She was heading to the OR. I got in my car. I think I ran through 7 lights in Naizuma and on 6th Avenue, arriving at 9:45 p.m. And when I got there to the second floor, they put me in this waiting room, but they forgot to bring me back to the OR. But I finally entered the operating room somewhere around 5:15, and I came from the back, and I remember I ran into the room, and they told me to keep my arms up in the air. Because in a planned C-section, when everything goes according to plan, we usually can't see the surgery. There's a curtain that separates the mother and the medical team. But because I came in late and witnessed this hectic scene, I saw a nurse whisk a small baby to the resuscitation room. And the first thing that Rachel said to me was, she wasn't crying. We soon learned that the baby girl was intubated, but the baby boy was stable, breathing on his own. The OR was loud and stressful. And then suddenly the situation improved dramatically. And I remember we went through the OR, then we went to the resuscitation room, and I saw the twins in these little incubators. We walked down this hallway, and then 2 fire doors opened up, and things got better. We went into the twins' room, and I think I saw the most remarkable thing in my life. I counted nearly 20 people, 10 working on each baby. They were setting up the IVs, the feeding tubes, and connecting a bevy of plugs into machines. They had one mission: care for my premature babies. This was teamwork at its absolute best. They didn't argue about politics. They didn't argue about religion, ideology, and even in Alabama, they didn't argue about college football. They communicated, they listened, they were kind and supportive. They were a diverse unit dedicated to saving lives and providing warmth to a very anxious dad who was scared. One nurse asked me, "Dad, do you have names?" And I answered, "Theodore Davis Wright." And I took a step back and I said, "Maisie Davis Wright?" I was 90% confident that Rachel and I agreed to the name Maisie. Then I told her in the recovery room that I named her Maisie. And she said, "You did, but we're happy we went with the name." But nevertheless, Maisie was intubated, but I had a good feeling that things would be okay. 30 hours later, which was remarkable, Maisie and Teddy were downgraded to the continuing care nursery for a long 6 weeks. The twins thrived, thanks to a wonderful medical team, and especially to God. The significance of the NICU taught me to slow down, let things go, to appreciate the joy. Most things in life aren't that important. Find the perspective. Smile. It's actually good for us. Remember to show kindness. And finally, there are truly good people in this country. Their politics doesn't matter. It's their actions that define them. It's their actions that will define and decide their legacy. It's how they treat us that matters at the end. And as we welcome the new year, I think this is the reminder that we all need, because I am troubled in the direction that we are going. Because right now, we put aside the good things in life. But in reality, we've made life unpleasant. We're not just getting mad at the small stuff. It seems to be everything. And let me be clear, it's not because of COVID, the lockdowns, the variants, or the vaccination status that led to our petulant behavior. We've been on this road of anger for many years, and frankly, we enjoyed being on it because we are so self-righteous, justified by our behavior. We embrace the rage. We've welcomed tribalism. We continue to bind ourselves tighter to our camps and hate the other side. We turn a blind eye to intolerant social media mobs whose sole purpose is to ruin people's lives and careers. We malign certain media outlets as threatening echo chambers to our democracy, while we fail to notice the echo chamber we built around ourselves. We're addicted to the sensationalism, rushing to judgment for the story of the day while ignoring the facts, the data, and the nuances. We've declared war against those we think differently. We think that we are winning, but both sides are losing. Is it really worth it to be so blindly arrogant by our self-righteous convictions? Is it really worth it to dismiss those with opposing views as ignorant, or even worse, evil? It's not surprising that social commentator Malcolm Gladwell said, "Americans love nothing more than accentuating their differences." What is especially sad is that we have generations of Americans who are growing up not talking to anyone with a different point of view. This is how the fear of the other drives bigotry and also creating divisions beyond repair. And arguably the greatest rabbi in our tradition, Maimonides, said it best: we like the opinions to which we have been accustomed from our youth. We defend them and shun contrary views. This is the one thing that prevents us from finding truth, clinging to the opinions of habits. What has been the result of our behavior? Americans are the unhappiest they've been in 50 years. We're the most stressed we've ever been too, and this unfortunately applies to our children. We're more anxious, we're more depressed, we're more isolated than ever. We're more angrier and impatient. We intentionally avoid joy, especially the things that are actually good for us in life. For example, taking vacation. Listen to this stat. Before the pandemic, 768 million US vacation days went unused. But we stick to the rage, we stick to our camps, we stick to the divisions. We can't go on like this, not as Americans and certainly not as Jews. It's not healthy and it's not right. And here we are on the birthday of the world, Rosh Hashanah, a day that challenges us to look inward, a day that we acknowledge that we are stubborn and stiff-necked, convinced we are right, entrenched in our own perspective. And here we are, on the 20-year anniversary of September 11th. A day in the American spiritual ethos we're supposed to remember and to mourn the 3,000 lives that were murdered. 20 years ago, Rosh Hashanah was 6 days after 9/11. I called my mentor, Rabbi David Frank, who spoke here at my installation, asking to give this part of the sermon he gave 20 years ago in San Diego. And with his permission, I'm sharing this. I was deeply moved by the example of New Yorkers. By now, many of us have seen the profound image of rescue workers hoisting an American flag on the fallen communication tower of the World Trade Center, standing amid the smoking ruins salute. There were also brigades of steel workers who marched into the rubble singing their Union songs and God Bless America. And American flags are cropping up everywhere amidst the destruction and throughout the country. And I remember that right after 9/11, neighborhoods throughout the country had the American flag beaming high on their flagpoles and standing tall into the ground. And 20 years ago, there actually was a shortage of American flags. We couldn't get them. And 20 years ago, our flag, it was a source of unquestioned national pride by all. And during this time, I wanted to buy a first responder shirt, whether FDNY or NYPD, to stand in solidarity with the firefighters and police officers. But like these flags, these t-shirts were nearly impossible to get. The tragedy of this horrific day found a way to unify the country. Nobody cared about politics. We weren't red, we weren't blue, we weren't even purple. We were Americans who showed up for this country. Americans donated a record amount of blood. Over 250,000 men and women enlisted in the military. And one of my favorite stories is when the opinionated and boisterous Yankee fans cheered the controversial elected Republican president of the time, George W. Bush, as he threw a commanding strike for the first pitch in the World Series, followed by loud chants of USA. The most popular band of that time, U2, performed at the Super Bowl, honoring every single victim. The band's Irish frontman, Bono, brought millions to tears as he concluded the performance wearing a jacket of an American flag. United, we stood. It's been a long 20 years since 9/11. We've been through a lot. It almost feels like a daily pounding hangover that's not going away. 2 wars, a sudden economic crash in 2008, a pandemic, and needed conversations regarding race, immigration, voting, and policing. But even with the adversities that we faced as a nation, I never realized that this would be the breaking point after what we went through as a country. And for many, the American flag is now politicized rather than being a sign of hope and freedom. Our police officers are being evaluated on unjustified policing interactions. However, it seems that we've made a rush to judgment regarding the character of all police. So it's not surprising that there's actually a shortage of police officers in this country. Universities permeate intellectual intolerance and political one-sidedness. Therapists has reported unusually high numbers of clients seeking help to deal with politics within their personal relationships. Nearly a third of Americans have stopped talking to a friend or someone in the family because of politics. And a few years ago, the National Institute for Civil Discourse received needed requests for help from churches, from synagogues, Fortune 500 companies, where productivity is down because of political tension. United we stood, divided we are falling. We can't go on like this. Is this the quality of life we want for us and especially our children? And I think we know the answer. My final question for us tonight: how can we change? Luckily, the gift of Judaism gives us a fresh start annually. So let's make this a year when we aren't as sensitive. Make this the year where we toughen up and accept differing opinions. This is a year where nuance actually matters. And just maybe, this can be a year when we turn off the noise, turn off the punditry and the cable news at night. Here's a fact: Judaism does not talk about cable news. It doesn't even mention any paper of record. What's the paper of record in Judaism? It's the Torah. It talks about kindness, perspective, and judging a person by the quality of their actions, not by the pundit we watch, the political party we support, or some recently modern textbook that we read in college. And here are some examples. I did not stop the recitation team who intubated Maisie to ensure they aligned politically with me. In 2017, Hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria decimated homes and destroyed people's lives. The volunteer Cajun Navy, and we can assume what their politics are, a group from Louisiana, saved countless lives. Do you think they stopped, asked what cable news they watch, what person they voted for, or asked what their religion is before they put them into their boats? Or do you think the victims cared about the political orientation of the Cajun Navy? Dr. Ahmed Eid is the head of surgery in Hadassah Hospital in Jerusalem. He's also an Arab Israeli. When he's operating on a patient, whether performing organ transplants or removing bullets or shrapnel, do you think he stops the surgery to make sure the patient is not Jewish? If my NICU experience reminded me not just to slow down, find the perspective, and to let things go, it ensured me to have faith in the power of the human spirit. There are truly wonderful and decent people in this world who, without hesitation, leave their voter preferences at the door because it simply does not matter. What matters is how we treat people, how we let the small things go, how we repair relationships, how we continue to work on our imperfections so our legacies can endure for generations to come. In San Diego, where I served as a rabbi before here, there's a bench in the courtyard dedicated to the life of Diane Gladstone. Diane's sister Jane is an active member there, and her son, Jamie, is a cantor who has strong roots too to certain members of this congregation. Diane was murdered on 9/11. She was stranded on the 78th floor with a good friend of hers who broke her leg, waiting for the high-speed elevator and then the first responders. And here at Temple Emanu-El, where every September, including tonight and this Friday, our congregants Paul Nagrotsky and Luis Abrams recite the Mourner's Kaddish for their brother-in-law, Ernie Wiltshire, who was murdered at the Pentagon on 9/11. The memories of Diane, Ernie, and their 3,000 victims deserve an America that isn't self-righteous and tribal. And equally as important, we the living deserve an America that is kinder, more patient, and reflective. An America that can find the perspective, let the small things go, not be as sensitive and intolerant, find the joy, smiles more often, and takes vacation. An America that understands its historical and current shortcomings, but endeavors to fulfill its ideals of freedom for everybody, all citizens. And most importantly, an America that sees the good in people, and leaves the echo chambers of intolerance for good, where the American flag isn't controversial, but the ultimate symbol of compassion, justice, empathy, and liberty. May the memories of the 3,000 victims forever be a blessing. As we welcome this new year, it's time. United, we stand for them. Shana Tova. Top of page 74, we continue. Avinu Malkeinu, strong was the faith of generations before us. In exile, they proclaimed enduring hope. In the shadow of persecution, they affirmed a transcendent love and compassion. Ours is a different age, less confident and certain, more tentative in its trust. There are many who say the works of their hands, you are gods. But when our worship centers on our own creations, we feel less gratitude, more doubt and despair. This is the paradox of our spiritual lives. We grow smaller in self-exaltation, nobler when we reach for you. On this night of return, let us find the humility to come close to you and open ourselves to your presence. For you are absent only when we fail to make room for you in our hearts, distant only when we turn away from you. Now, as others have done before us, let us overcome doubt and speak these words of affirmation. We call you Avinu as loving parents. Forgive our wrongs and failings, accept us in our human frailty. We call you Malkeinu as sovereign of our souls. Help us rise from our brokenness to build a world of shalom. To this vision, we offer ourselves anew. We rise together, top of page 76. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, you alone are sovereign. Avinu Malkeinu, for your sake, show us mercy. Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, bring healing and wholeness to the ill among us. Avinu Malkeinu, allay the harshness of the decree against us. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of redemption and renewal. Avinu Malkeinu, remember our goodness and call it to mind. Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake and save us.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu. Me'alol aleinu, metapeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu,
Avinu Malkeinu, Aminu Malkeinu, Kotmeinu, Besefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Chodesh Aleinu, Chodesh Aleinu, Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chodesh Aleinu, Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Anenu, Anenu, Ki en banu masi, Asei banu, Avinu Malkeinu,
It's our great pleasure to welcome the president of our board, Robert Berman.
Good evening. For those who I have not met, I am Robert Berman, and I serve as our Temple's president. I hope everyone has enjoyed a safe Labor Day weekend, extended this year by welcoming and observing the Jewish New Year. Whether you are worshiping in the sanctuary, Hess Chapel, Abrams Hall, from your home in Birmingham or elsewhere, you are an incredible community, and I welcome each and every one of you. As we begin the High Holy Days, engaged in personal reflection, and wait for the joyful sounding of the shofar, I am proud to share what your temple has undertaken and accomplished this past year. All efforts have focused on new beginnings. First, we launched our temple outreach and dues commitment endeavor. The goal is to connect with every congregant over a 3-year period. In 2020, 40 incredible volunteers reached out to 1/3 of our temple family. Even during the unsettling COVID times, we were very successful. It is important to note that we were successful financially, but that's only part of the story. I participated as a volunteer, and most rewarding and important to me was learning about our congregants' relationships with Temple. I heard about current relationships with Temple and how congregants would like to see their relationships grow. Our 2021 planning is complete, and another 1/3 of our congregation will hear from Temple in the coming weeks. Your honest feedback is welcome and helps shape Temple's future. Second, we entered into an agreement with the Birmingham Holocaust Education Center to share space in our building. This repurposed, state-of-the-art space will bring visitors from all backgrounds and walks of life. Our temple will be a destination for both learning and worship. BHEC will have its new permanent Highland Avenue home to create a more just and compassionate world that recognizes the dignity, potential, and humanity of every individual. Third, we formed our COVID task force to lead us through this pandemic. This dedicated team has safely guided us through the reopening of Temple. This group of doctors of different disciplines developed our tiered systematic plan. They were thorough and thoughtful in their approach. My sincere gratitude to them for the countless hours spent to guide us to a safe return to worship in our holy spaces. Fourth, we conducted a capital improvement study which had not been done in some time. As suspected, we find that we face significant repairs, including repairs to the air conditioning system and repairs to the roof over the education and administration building. Many years ago, in anticipation of such issues, Temple leadership established a capital improvements fund. On a monthly basis, Temple directs funds to this account. Also, we experienced a ransomware attack at Temple. This potentially debilitating event was overcome by the efforts of our staff, our technology committee, our IT partner, and our insurer. All this mishiga led us to be able to control our information systems more securely. Now there is a repurposed Grafman Endowment Fund that will assist in keeping Temple technology systems state-of-the-art. Throughout 5781, I was approached by community leaders, and the recurring topic was collaboration. Education was a big part of the recurring conversation, not specific to one congregation, but a community initiative. My perspective was broadened further in conversations with Rabbi Wright and Ronald Levitt, president of Temple Bethel. The question became, how can we work together? I am proud to share that in this new year of 5782, we are taking steps to accomplish things together for our Jewish community. In fact, we have already started. Tomorrow, Rosh Hashanah, the first day of 5782, we will be sharing worship space with Temple Bethel. There will be a tent at the soccer fields at the Levite Jewish Community Center where we will hold our contemporary service in the morning and Temple Bethel will hold their family service in the afternoon. This will repeat again for Yom Kippur. This was made possible by a collaborative effort between Temple Emanu-El, Temple Bethel, the JCC, and the Birmingham Jewish Foundation. The JCC is our gracious host, and the Foundation's funding is vital. Thank you all. Also, there is a community program for our post-B'nai Mitzvah students. The program is called Kesher, which means community. Kesher is for the entire Birmingham Jewish community. Our teens will meet, socialize, learn, and share a meal together, creating bonds and relationships that last for a lifetime. Kesher is made possible by the Any Miles Jewish Day School, who will serve as our host, and the Birmingham Jewish Federation, who will provide funding. Again, my sincere thanks to all. I'm beyond proud to say that we are working together and our community will be stronger for it. At the conclusion of a reading of a book of the Torah, we say, Chazek, Chazek, V'nit Chazek, from strength to strength, may we be strengthened. We celebrate the past, at the same moment we look to the future. As we welcome the new year, know that I remain accessible to every congregant, and I wish each of you and your families a very good year, a year of health, peace, and prosperity. Shana Tova.
We rise once more for Aleinu, page 82.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. בענק
Top of page 86. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey from childhood and maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness, and often back again. From health to sickness and back we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, made stage by stage to life everlasting. On this Yontif, we recall the yortzites of Andrew David Abrams, Bessie L. Binder, Samuel Bittner, Beatrice Rosenberg Blumberg, Herman Blumberg, Ava Camp, Stanley F. Cohen, Tessie Stein Cohen, Herbert Cohen, Jacob Cotton, Ralph Davis, Isadora Paul Friedman, Joan Sachs Friedman, Rose Raff Goldstein, Jacob S. Harris, Malin A. Hartstill Jr., Will Holloway, Alan G. Howard, May Caden, Luis Levine Cumbar, Sadie Silverfield Levin, Carrie Kryn Levine, Hyman Maurice Levine Sr., Edna T. London, Anita Goldman Marcus, Marjorie Weiss Margolin, Jerry Markovitz, Ike May, Dorothy Bajarian, Ralph R. Mitnick, Morris Ofson, Louis Phillips, Lawrence L. Sachs, Maurice Salloway, Ida Herman Schultz, Lorna Schultz, Sidney Sonny Seidemann Jr., Ida Siegel, Paul Shapiro Sr., Albert Sugarman, Rena Jean Simons, Robert Samuel Slate, Ryan Danielle Stanton, C. Stern, B. Thompson, Leon Judah Weinberger, Larry Weiner, Ernie Wilcher, Lynn Otis Wilmoth, and Ruth Wolf, and a heartfelt condolences in the recent passings of Steve Block, Priscilla Leaf, Susie Ofson, Steve Petrosky, Margaret Sisson, and Pauline Cohen-Witt. May their memories forever be a blessing, and we rise together united for a mourner's Kaddish on page 90. Yikadal, Vikadah Shemei Rabbah, Bioma Divrach Rote Vamlich Machute, Nachayachon of Yomechon, Uchayet the Kol Beit Yisrael, Bagalau Izman Kariv Yimru,
Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Leolam Olamei Maya, Yit Barach, Vishtabach, Hit Ba'ard, Hit Romam, Hit Naseh, Vita Dar, Vita La, Vita Lao, Shmei Dekucha, Barichu, Le'ela ul Ela Mikol Birchata V'Shirata, Tushbechata V'Nechamata, Damin Ram Be'oma V'Imru,
Amen.
Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleina V'Yakol Yisrael V'Imru, Amen. Osei Shalom Mimromav, Huya Sei Shalom, Aleina V'Yakol Yisrael, V'Yakol Yoshvei Tevel, V'Imru, Amen. We conclude our service, Adon Olam, page 94. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.